Hello and welcome to THFE Productions. Today we're going to be dissecting Bungie's GDC panel. So this is going to be talking about Destiny. Now it's an hour long. I've trimmed it down to 10 minutes, so we're going to be looking through everything. So on the left is Joseph Staten. He's a writer and designer at Bungie. On the right is Chris Barrett, Destiny's art director. So Destiny, if you don't know, is Bungie's next great action shooter set in a persistent world that you share with other players. Bungie in this whole panel talked about what it takes to build a whole new world, and in talking about their new world, they wanted a place where millions of people would want to go and visit over and over again. That's the key to their persistent online world. Now they start off the panel by taking a look at what they've created in the past. So of course Bungie is behind the franchise that is Halo. They created all these games, but they said it was like a pipeline where everything was focused and directed in terms of the campaign. It was you play it once and then you move on. They want Destiny to be an open world where there's no end in sight. You just keep playing it over and over again. And to achieve this, they want four main pillars that you can see right here. It has to be hopeful and inviting, idealized reality, filled with mystery and adventure, and a place where you can become a legend. So this is kind of the structure of the panel. So they start off with hopeful and inviting. So Bungie talks about their early ideas for the game. It was going to be a fantasy world, which has a lot of differences from what obviously Halo was. It was going to be a world with castles and knights, rare armor, all sorts of mysteries and stuff like that. All sorts of creatures and monsters and heroes, grub lords, potential for awesome characters like this giant toad and goblins, piranhas, and of course here the quintessential fantasy of an ancient ruin that you could go and check out yourself. But Bungie found it hard to escape the allure of sci-fi, and so what they started to do was say, hey, we can do both of these together. So what they created was Mythic science fiction, and so they wanted to mix the ancient history and texture of fantasy with the hard-hitting punch of sci-fi. And they said, exploring derelict spaceships is just as fun as exploring hidden tombs. So now they've combined the two elements, and I think it's really cool. So right here you can see a combination of the old ancient history of this tomb with the new assault rifle laying next to these jewels. And here you can see gold contrasted, gold pieces, all this ancient sort of rooted history contrasted with soldiers, future soldiers, but also again with capes, which makes them look like knights. And early in development, they said they made more than enough concept art to exceed all the concept art for previous games that they've made. So that's all the past Halos. Here you can see a human colony on Europa. This is going to be an ancient alien crumbling civilization, I believe, on Venus. So they have all this concept art, and what they said is they wanted to make postcards. So postcards were these postcards from Destiny, something that characterized what Destiny was and captures its essence. So you can see these knights, it's an open terrain, optimism, you can explore, the players are working together. So one of the big challenges Destiny said was you have to first define the center of your world, and then after that you build your world around that, and it's easy. So when they first talked about fantasy, they wanted the center of their world to be this castle surrounded by darkness that the knights need to protect, but the castle itself was a place players could meet, talk, discuss, and then from there go and explore the wilderness. But this would be the hub and the home. And as they moved into sci-fi, they started thinking the castle would be some sort of spaceship. So here's, some concept art of the various spaceships that they designed. And they wanted the hub to be something like the castle that I mentioned earlier. And so they came up with two sort of general ideas of what these would be. The first was going to be a space station. So this is an early concept of a potential space station. The second was going to be a massive ship. So this would be the last remnants of a human fleet, and that would be the hub for the humans. And then it slowly began to evolve into something like an ancient alien artifact where the humans would be defending and holding out in. And as they looked on the inside, they said it delved a bit too much into the sci-fi, so they drew it back. And they wanted to preserve the familiar feel, so they wanted a human city, decided that it would be a human city on Earth, but with like towering ships and spacecraft flying above. So that's the intersection of the familiar and the unfamiliar here. And they settled on this concept art right here with the Traveler. This is what they named it, and from there they decided to create a whole lore around it. So this is how this whole idea came about. And so Bungie talks about building your whole world from these, quintessential images and designs. After they built the Traveler, they said, okay, we want this human city. Around that is a perimeter, and so they wanted main elements of the city. So you have the wall, you have the tower, which is in the back, which is the main place players are going to hang out. And additionally, what you're going to have is a hangar, which I've mentioned in another video. where you can, fuel up your spaceships and head out, and it's where players can show off their gear, prepare for missions, and all that stuff. So that's going to be what defines your hub, and from there they built the world around it. Now, what's going to take place after this is Bungie's going to move on to their second pillar, which is Idealized Reality. So Idealized Reality is what they said, it's taking the familiar and mixing it with the unfamiliar. So they wanted to look at Westerners in terms of the mood, the palette, the costumes, very much the Maverick, and they also had other inspirations from artists for the mood. Right here you can see Gilliam. They wanted space map, something that a combination of ancient, looking for treasure, but also with the the space map. The map would show planets and stars and galaxies and stuff like that. And here you can see some inspirations they had for the architecture. I think this inspired the Hive. They said this inspired them for Venus. So they had all these sources of inspiration. And they said anime was actually a pretty big influence in terms of the look of the characters and the spacecraft. Now, Bungie also points out to main challenges. So here it says, how do you unify the influences of your huge world, and how do you get your team focused when you want so much? So they have these color palettes and mood boards, and they said the post effects would be a way to unify the look of the game, bloom, all that types of stuff. And here are these early concepts where you take these colors and then you add sort of what character do you feel fits that color. And here you can see the various environments where they tried to flesh out the different palettes. These are the forests of Mars, and here are these huge obsidian ships. And Bungie said this was classified, but they would talk about it later. So now another pillar of developing this world is mystery and adventure. At Bungie, this is a quote, they say, "We believe that mystery and adventure really begin at the intersection of the expected and the unexpected, where the familiar meets the strange." So here you can see they take the moon, which is a familiar thing, and they make it different. So they created these hellmouths, stuff you wouldn't expect on the moon. And I would go ahead and check out the video right here. We have delving into the hellmouth. But otherwise, they had lots of opportunities to take what was familiar and make it different. So you can see, I think it's the choke towers of the Mumbai Push. Here are the flooded streets of old Chicago. And next, it's a frozen city occupied by an army of machines where tall buildings have become dungeons, their lower floors buried in snow. Now, the next big challenge was narrowing their focus. So obviously, they have a huge world, but how do you narrow the focus and move from the concept art to production? So there were three ways Bungie was going to do this, and the first was a unifying visual theme. And so the idea was nature ascendant over lost human civilization. The second was destination postcard. So I said those are the concept arts that define sort of the look and the mood. And the third was the world building tool. And Bungie is going to go into these. So nature ascendant is, old ruined landscapes taken over by nature. So, maybe it's sand, or maybe it's snow, maybe it's the jungle, all sorts of decrepit human areas. So you can see here the snow I mentioned, overtaking the city, this colony. And it's the idea that humanity has lost a lot. You're at the brink of destruction, and then you have to come back from that. The third point was world building tools. And this is the Grognok system. I'll show it briefly here, but I would check out the video right here. Check out this link where we look at it in a little more detail. This is the way they have their artists create their various worlds, and it's a way they can make huge, massive worlds for players to look into and to explore. The next big challenge was how do you populate your world? So right here is an example of a mood board where you put colors, and then they make quick sketches of what they want on the inside. So what's kind of cool is here you can see the whole development. Here you can see the Fallen being developed, the Vex, all these various characters that they grew out of these initial concept arts, and they just got more and more fleshed out. The fourth pillar is going to be how you can become a legend. So the big challenge was how do you make a game with millions of players, how do you make it so that anyone can be a hero? And so they made these main choices that you can pick from, and I would check out this video here where we go into the classes that you can choose. But anyways, the main races you can have are human, the Awoken, these more ghost vampiric looking characters, or the Exo, which were inspired by Master Chief Terminator. So you have these various classes where you can define yourself, and then within that you're going to have these, and of course Tiger Man, which didn't make the cut, and I would check out the classes video where Bungie pokes fun at this early concept. But after that, you can choose fashion, the hairstyle of your character, makeup, adornments, etc. And then, of course, you have classes within your race. So there are going to be three main ones: Titan, Hunter, and Warlock. And I would, again, check out that video where we go into this more in depth. Here you can see the three main classes laid out. And here you can see the Titan, the Hunter, and the Warlock classes with all their individual customization, weapons. We also have a video right here. Check that out where we look at the customization and all that stuff that'll make you really stand out as a hero. Now, the next one that they're going to cover is going to be this video right here. And I would go ahead and check that out. I'll break it up into further detail. And this is character development. I'll just show you a brief glimpse right here where they show you, going from the sketches to the more rendered models. So I would go ahead and check out that video. But anyways, guys, that's been the recap for the whole panel. I've broken it down, and we have these sub videos, which I would recommend you check out just for more details because there's a lot more to it. Anyways, that's the GDC. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like the video and subscribe for more content. We'll be bringing it to you shortly and as soon as it comes out. So, see you guys next time.